Today was an explosive day in the market. A lot of stocks blasted up, and we have some big news to talk about. There's going to be a ton of opportunity throughout the rest of this week. Stocks are moving in some really big ways. Make sure to stick around to the end of today's video, as Tom and myself will be going over our favorite setups towards the end of the video. But across the board, stocks blasted up. Tom, we have Unity up 13%, Roblox up 14%. DraftKings up 10%, and even Tesla was in the green even after they reported those deliveries that fell quite a bit quarter over quarter.
Yeah, they did. That was actually really cool to see them come back up today, up 2.55%, and they honestly closed right around that $700 resistance. So we'll have to see where they end up moving here in after hours and into tomorrow. And I honestly think it might be to the upside, Mike. There's a lot of good momentum coming in here. Tesla actually broke support this morning and started blasting down, then recovered all the way back. Like I said, I'm really glad to see him back up, though. Whenever I look at this daily chart, Mike, it's starting to look pretty nice down here for a pretty good dip buy. I know that Tesla, as we know, might be a little bit overvalued still, but if we start to see stocks rip back up, I would assume that they would follow up a lot of the big tech stocks. And as of now, like Tesla's forming a nice support. We're starting to see Zoom look nice on the daily. Meta looks amazing, Mike. There's so many opportunities in the market right now.
Big time. Meta was up 5% today. It had an awesome move. It was just so nice to see so many stocks in the green, and in the green by a good amount. It's not like these stocks were only up 2 or 3% today. And one thing I really want to point out is that while there is still a lot of fear in the market overall, it's very important to keep in mind that even if the market continues lower, it is definitely possible to make money on stocks to the upside, because it is not uncommon to see explosive rips up in the middle of a stock market crash. And I know that sounds very funny and kind of weird, but even if we went back to 2020, Tom already beat me to it, we could see we had huge drops, but we also had some of the biggest green days in years in that time. And it's actually very similar to what we're seeing now in the market. So even though if the market continues lower, we can very well see a lot of big green up candles in up weeks, because just volatility overall is increasing. So don't just think because the market overall has been falling, it's definitely possible to make money to the upside.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially on a lot of these shorter term plays right now. Look at the SPY here. It's been bouncing off this 374 support day after day. Just looking at shorter term, even dip buys, Mike, you could just buy this right off of support. I'm not saying to do this tomorrow, but look at that. Every time it's touched 373, 374 here, we've ended up ripping right back up with some pretty good volatility. Hopefully this support keeps holding up for the SPY this week, Mike. We're all the way back up now, up to that 382 resistance. I'm really hoping we can start to break back up. Whenever we look at that 1 year daily, like I said, it's looking strong with SPY even. But Mike, I will say what looks interesting in the shorter term is also some of these airlines. I noticed American Airlines is starting to look pretty hot down here. Obviously they had some bad news with Morgan Stanley. They kind of talked they were talking about Carnival Cruise Lines last week, but that bled over into the airline sector overall and just pretty much every travel stock. So hopefully they can start to recover here, Mike. It's looking pretty good. And, if the momentum continues this week, I would think this is a sector that might end up having, like you said, one of those shorter term uptrends again.
Exactly. Cruise lines and airlines are very, very oversold right now. And, a lot of these stocks are up minimum 5% today. So they appear to be at least bouncing right now. So definitely keep them on your radar. But I just want to point out one more thing. It's with Roblox. This stock was up 14% today, and some of the weekly options for Roblox are up anywhere from 170% up to 654% today compared to Friday. So, there's definitely big moves and a lot of money to be made in this market. It's going to be a very action-packed week.
Yeah, it really is. And Mike, talking about action this week, we have the FOMC minutes actually coming out tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So that's probably going to bring in a lot of volatility, guys. As we know, this is going to kind of highlight what they talked about in the last FOMC meeting. They're just going to get more in depth with everything, of course, and you'll be able to see exactly what they said. Hopefully it doesn't come as too much of a surprise, Mike. Hopefully Powell did a good job in his press conference. But nonetheless, these minutes usually do bring in volatility. So definitely be ready for that. And we do have some data coming out Friday, which is big. But the main thing is that minutes tomorrow, Mike. As we know, that always ends up moving the markets and at least a little bit.
2 p.m. Eastern time is the time to be watching the markets tomorrow. Like Tom said, the minutes will be released, and these types of events are important because it gives us more insight as to what the Federal Reserve was discussing and thinking about in their previous interest rate decision. Interest rates are so important for the economy and the market because they impact everything from, you could say, mortgage rates to the current valuations of stocks. Tom also beat me to it again, but we can see the 10-year Treasury index starting to fall off, which shows how rates are kind of calming down, which is great to see, and it really helps stocks.
Yeah, hopefully this is why we're starting to see another uptrend starting to form here. This is obviously good news for the market, and I hope that the minutes tomorrow does not help make the TNX turn back around, back to the upside. That would definitely be bad news, like we're talking about, Mike. That would mean rates are kind of going back to the upside again. So, like you said, hopefully it's calming down, and I hope the minutes doesn't affect that at all. But yeah, looking at a lot of stocks that might be affected by that, by anything that they talked about in there, Mike. I know banks deal a lot with interest rates, and they were actually slightly red today, believe it or not, on a day where a lot of other stocks were green. So pretty crazy to see that. They did almost make it back into the green, though. I will say that most of the negative movement was early on, but it was still pretty big to see that they posted red.
No doubt. So, Tom, speaking of interest rates, a lot of times, like when inflation gets out of control, those are when you kind of see the need for increased interest rates, which is basically the situation we're in right now. But a lot of commodities have been starting to cool off quite a bit, oil being one of them. So it's down 8% today. What's going on?
Yeah, this is huge. Crude oil futures fell down to under $100 a barrel today, guys. I mean, that is a big drop. As we can see on the 1-year daily, we were just at like $122 a barrel back on June 13th. So it's pretty big to see it falling off that much, Mike. And there was some pretty bad news today regarding Citigroup. They said they could see oil prices tumbling down to $65 by the end of the year if a recession whacks demand. So pretty much what they're saying here is that whenever crude oil ends up falling down like this during recession, some people think, well, hey, shouldn't crude oil be going up right now with inflation and everything like that? But of course, imagine this. People aren't going to travel as much. Of course, if inflation sticks around and if we go into recession, obviously, like they're saying here, demand is going to fall. So that could make oil end up falling down to $65, Mike. And well, that's what Citigroup's saying here. That's what their analysts are predicting. Honestly, take that with a grain of salt, guys. It might not get to 65, but in general, that was bad news for oil today to see them even saying that, Mike. That's a really low target compared to where we are now. So personally, I hope we get back to 65, but it's just interesting because, like you said, we're kind of in a very tough time with interest rates and everything like that. Most people would probably think oil should be going up still, but as we can see here, they're kind of predicting it to come down.
Alrighty, good to know. So, Tom, I know there's some pretty interesting news with NIO, the Chinese EV company. So, the stock was up around 4% today. What news do you have for us?
Yeah, so as we know, a lot of these newer companies, especially these EV companies, have some pretty big like expansionary days. So Tesla's had like their battery day in the past, and NIO is actually going to have Power Day coming up. So NIO's had Power Day a couple of years in a row now, but nonetheless, they're going to have Power Day 2022 coming up tomorrow. So definitely be ready for that. They said in quotes here, we will be live streaming the event to show how NIO Power is working further toward the vision of making powering up easier than refueling, a statement from the company read. So that's pretty big, Mike. Making powering up easier than refueling. That's a tough thing to do considering to refuel, it takes you 2 minutes. You get out of your car real quick, you maybe swipe your card and then you're done in like a minute. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to be able to do this. I know that they have some pretty crazy stuff though going on with like their battery swaps and everything like that. If you guys look this up, they have some crazy technology where they actually take like the whole bottom of your car off and then replace it with a new battery that's charged up. I don't know exactly how long the process takes, but I saw a video and it was done in about 2 minutes. So pretty crazy, Mike, but seems like some pretty good technology. Hopefully this helps NIO stock a little bit.
Yeah, so Neo has some very ambitious goals, especially when it comes to just charging and I don't want to say refueling, but just powering up, as they say. Neo stock has took quite the beating over the past year. Right now, it's lingering right around 22, but in the beginning of 2021, this stock was right around $67 a share. It had lows of around $11.67 per share back in May of this year, but they're growing a lot. They have a lot of ambitious goals, like I said, and the EV industry is just exploding.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm kind of glad to see all this nice technology. Like I honestly didn't even know Neo had all this stuff going on with battery swaps and everything like that. And it's pretty insane to see a lot of this newer technology coming out. I know Tesla has a lot of stuff coming out. XPEV, which is another Chinese EV company, has a lot of stuff coming out. But we keep talking about good dip buys, Mike. I mean, Neo's another one that's very, very low right now. Like we talked about, it might still be overvalued a little bit, but if these growth stocks start flying back up, I feel like Neo might be a pretty good dip buy themselves. And, they're actually popping up above the 100 SMA and they're consolidating pretty well up above lows right now compared to a lot of stocks.
Alrighty. Yeah, not too bad. So, Tom, let's get right into today's momentum plays. With the first one, we have Teladoc to the upside.
Yeah, TDOC, go ahead and make them break out above $39 even tomorrow.
All right, with the next one, we have Netflix, also to the upside.
Yeah, good old Netflix here. Go ahead and make them break above 186.
All right, and with the last one, we have Meta, also to the upside.
Meta, previously Facebook, go ahead and make them break above 168.50. And if they break that in pre-market, then look at 169.
Right, so we're watching Meta, Netflix, and Teladoc for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. But Tom, we have to showcase the bot play from today. It was pretty dang awesome. So if you guys trade options or if you're looking for good ways to trade in this crazy market environment, check this out. Our bot today called out the Meta $162.50 calls at $395 each, and they ran all the way up to $720 each within a couple hours. So $395 all the way up to $720. This was an options day trade. If you decide to sign up with that link in the description and the comments down below, you get access to this bot you're seeing on the screen. You also get access to bonus setups from Tom, bonus day trade setups, which also have done very, very well historically speaking. You get access to swing plays and a bunch of other custom channels you're not going to find anywhere else. It's awesome if you trade really stocks or options for the short term. So definitely check it out. The bot is amazing and the other tools you get access to are very awesome. So definitely check it out. You can cancel it anytime. It's going to be that first link in the description and the comments down below. But Tom, before we get into our favorite setups for tomorrow, I want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day, Sea-Dog. Thank you so much, Sea-Dog, for being a great member of the Stocked Up Discord. Tom and I really appreciate you. But Tom, what's your favorite setup for tomorrow and the rest of the week?
Yeah, so looking at a lot of stocks right now, Mike, I'm really keeping my eyes on Amazon. I had this one as a free day trade today in the bonus setups day trade, not the free day trading actually. But we did have some pretty good day trades today in the Discord nonetheless. But yeah, Amazon's one of my favorites right now, Mike. They're really close to $100 a share. And that's pretty crazy to say for Amazon, Mike, which was near $3,000 just a year ago. So pretty crazy to see them down here around 100 after this split. Pretty awesome. I'm looking to buy some shares here and looking at it on the daily, it's really bouncing on some pretty key supports. You can see we're holding it like 102.50 here very, very well. And it has a lot of momentum. So Amazon's my favorite, Mike. I think this might even be a pretty good dip buy here, or it's a good stock to start averaging into. I know we talked a lot about Tesla, Neo, and a lot of stocks like that. Those stocks bring a little bit more risk to them. I really like Amazon. It's been around for a long time, and I think they'll end up doing pretty well over the next couple of years.
Right, there we go. My favorite is Shopify. This company not only is extremely oversold, but they also have a good amount of upwards momentum. So looking at the 1 year daily, we can see the stock went from $176 in November of 2021 to lows of $29.72, which was actually from today. So this stock got demolished Fundamentally, they're pretty strong, and they have positive momentum right now. The stock's up 8%. Decent volume came in as well. It has a long history of big moves, so I really like it, and it's definitely on my watch list.
Yeah, we both kind of picked up those e-commerce stocks there, Mike. But yeah, they look pretty hot. I like Shopify's levels. Like you said, a really big support down here around 30. It's honestly kind of like triple bottoming on it. So I think it looks pretty great, Mike. Like you said, very oversold too. Hopefully we see some nice momentum keep coming in this week. This is definitely a good start here for Shopify. And who knows? Look at that. It's actually sitting right around that 1,000 SMA on the 5 minute too.
All right, there we go. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. We post brand new videos every single day. So make sure to subscribe and definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below to get access to our premium plays. They've been on fire lately and they're perfect for this crazy, crazy market. So definitely check it out. The first link in the description and the comments down below. Besides that, let's have an amazing rest of the week.